Hello, my name is Molly, and today I'm going to be doing a book talk about Rebel Belle by Rachel Hawkins. Now, I just finished this book last night. I gave it about probably a 4 out of 5 stars because it did want to keep me reading, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I love you. This is the non-spoilery section. For those of you who don't know about this book, it is about a girl named Harper Price, and she's like a Southern Belle type. She's really good. She's like the president of all the committees and all the clubs, and she really likes being involved in everything. And then she gets these supernatural abilities, and she finds out she has to guard this person with her life, and it's about her training and defeating said bad person while protecting said good person. So I didn't love it. I thought there would be more action in it and more suspense and more like, yes, but from the beginning I could guess what happened, and it was like, okay, whatever. It was a quick read. I finished it in like a day, so it wasn't bad. That is it for the non-spoilery section, so I'm going to ask you to leave if you have not read Rebel Belle, because I will be talking about it and spoiling it for all of you people who have not read it. So go read it, and then you can come back and we can talk about it together. Bye. Okay, so Rebel Belle. I have mixed feelings. I didn't like the storyline too much, but I do want to keep reading. Like, I want to read the next series. I finished this in a day. Like, it was pretty fast-paced. It kept me reading to figure out if I was right with my predictions, because like I said, I could predict most of the stuff that did happen, so it wasn't too big of a reveal for me. And as soon as they introduced David in the beginning, I was like, oh, okay, well, they're obviously going to end up together. Let's start by talking about David and Harper, shall we? Yes, we shall. So I really liked them together for some reason. I thought it was adorable. Just the way they were, and just the adorableness of it. I could tell from the beginning when they snarked at each other, and it was just like, oh, you're gonna end up lovey-dovey, lovey each other. And I could tell he had a crush on her, and she was so oblivious to it, and I can't stand that in books. Like, they're so oblivious to it. It's like, it's obvious that said person has a crush on you. But no, you're like, what? Oh, he has a crush on me? No way. I don't believe you. He doesn't have a crush on me. They were adorable, and I did like them together, so that worked out well. So the first chapter I read, right? First chapter, it was literally about her forgetting her lipstick. And I can't stand girls like that are like, oh my god, this isn't my shade of lipstick, so I can't, I'm hideous, I can't go out. Really, there are worse problems in the world than you forgetting your lipstick and having someone offer you the wrong shade. Like, I don't need a chapter and a half about how you forgot your lipstick. I don't care. It just bothered me. I was just like, no, I don't care about your lipstick, okay? I don't. And I really didn't love Harper. She was just that girly character that seemed to care more about dresses than she did about her family, about like, she was such a Southern Belle, and I don't really like those types of people, but she just seemed to care so much about what people thought about her and her appearance, and even in the end, after everything changed, she was worried about what people would think of her. And I was like, Harper, you gotta get over that. It doesn't matter. Because you have supernatural abilities, okay? And you have your own friends, you have someone that obviously has been crushing on you for a long time that you just managed to kiss. So get on with it, okay? Get on with your life. Don't give a crap about what people think about you, okay? Just don't. I thought it was funny how they described it as kissing when they passed on the paladin powers. I thought that was pretty funny, because I was reading it during the park, actually. It was like after the park, you know, how they give you time to read. So I was reading it, and it was like, and he kissed me, and I was like, what? Ew, that's terrible. What is that? And then she was like, oh, well, he blew it into, let's talk about Blythe, or Blythe, or whatever you want to call her. I call her Blythe. So Blythe is the witch, the little witch, that runs around is like, I have to help you, David, I have to change. So it's them talking about David and whatever. And they walk into the college application room, and they're getting ready for the interview, right? And she's just like, Harper's just like, oh, I guess, like, this girl can never hurt anyone, so I guess we're fine. It was probably just a false alarm, whatever. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, did it not occur to you that maybe looks aren't that important? Don't you dress like a Southern Belle and have supernatural abilities, okay? Isn't Sailor Stark a mage or a witch or whatever you want to call them? She doesn't look like a witch, does she? So why would this girl be any different? And the fact that they were supposed to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and they were like standing there like this, they were like, oh yeah, he's my boyfriend. Like, really? Really? You couldn't have just, like, side-hugged each other for 5 minutes of, like, oh, you guys would be cute together. Like, really? You couldn't have... And then they take Bleed, they capture her. I was proud of Harper for that. They capture her, and they have her in the backseat of the car. I'm like, she's a witch. She's a powerful witch at that. So, seriously, you think you're going to be able to keep her in the back of your car? Really? Really? And you couldn't have thought whatever, to call Sailor Stark and be like, hey, we have a witch here. Like, don't bring her to your house. Not that she got there because they were stupid enough to think, oh, she'll just stay in the back of the car crying or whatever. No, I was like, why are you bringing her to your house? Like, that is just a recipe for disaster. And then she tried to kill her. I was like, you go, Bleed, because she deserves to get some sense knocked into her. I liked David from the beginning. Like, in the beginning, he was a little bit of a jackass, but he was sweet, and I could tell that I was going to love him, and then I did love him, so it all worked out. Oh, Bleed's control over everyone, the punch. I didn't see that coming. I should have, because, like, the brownies and everything, but I didn't. So, that was a big reveal for me, and I did like that. I liked that. That got me going. I was like, yes, she's gonna have to fight all these people. She's gonna be really badass. And then it really wasn't that badass. Like, it was just kind of like, oh, they all went down after I threw one punch at them. Like, really, Bleed couldn't have taken the extra time to just pour a little strength potion or whatever in there, so one punch wouldn't knock them out. Like, Bleed, seriously? And then she just takes the girls and she leaves David in that. You would think, because you're the head of everything, that you would know how many girls there were. Oh, Harper. And then Sailor Stark died. I was like, Sailor, no! I thought she was a real bitch in the beginning, but then, at the end, I was like, no, they need you, Sailor, because they're idiots without you. And she passes her powers on to Ryan, Harper's ex-boyfriend. He bothered me. She was like, oh my god, he's the perfect boyfriend. I'm like, no, he's not. I couldn't stand Ryan. And him and Marybeth annoyed me too. I was like, girl, you gotta leave. When does she come into the story? Because I had a feeling maybe like she was connected to Bleed somehow, or Bleed was gonna convert her. Something was going to happen. She definitely had a thing for Ryan, and I think Ryan had a thing for her, even though he told her, but he didn't. And I was so glad when they finally broke up. And then, right after, she walks in, David gets to be her escort, right? And she walks up the steps, and they're talking about death and whatever. Kiss. You finally kiss. Then, Bleed performs magical spell on David, and all the girls are just like huddled in the corner. It's like, Bleed, you couldn't have like knocked them out or something. Whatever. So then, Bleed is doing this thing, blah, blah, blah. And Harper, like, I feel like Harper should have been more concerned for David because Alaric went nuts. He tried to kill everyone. And she's just like, oh, I have to get to Bleed, I have to get rid of her. Like, I get you have to stop her, but shouldn't you be a little worried about David? Shouldn't you not be thinking about how beautiful he looks, soaked in golden light, that could possibly turn him into an evil psychopath? Really? So then she knocks out Bleed or whatever, I forget what she does. I think she knocks her out or something, I don't know. And then David, like, I figured he would kill all the girls, and I was like, yes, some action, just like, he doesn't kill all the girls, he turns them all into paladins, and they're like, oh my god, they're like so happy. I'm like, doesn't that seem a little weird to you that like they were just soaked in golden light and then they thought they were going to die and then they turned into these like super assassins? Does that not seem weird to you? They weren't weirded out at all. They were like so excited about it. I was like, aren't you all Southern Belle? Shouldn't you be at least a little weirded out by this? I didn't like that they were all paladins because I felt like you didn't really need that in the story, because then all of a sudden it was just like they weren't paladins anymore. They were all knocked out. It was just the end. Whatever. Except Lee took B, and I was like, you should have seen that coming. Like really, really, I hated how they had to protect her. I was like, no, you shouldn't fight it, be divergent under her control and fight it. No, whatever. And it left on such a cliffhanger, and it was like over, and I was like, what? No, you can't just end it like that, what? And I don't own the sequel to Rebel Belle, and in the beginning I made it sound like I hated it, and throughout this whole review I have been saying how terrible and stupid people are, but I did enjoy it, and I do want to pick up the next book. So I don't really know how that works. I don't know why I hated it a lot about the book, but I wanted to keep reading and like finish it. Just the character. I don't like Southern Belle type characters, and I think that was my problem. I'm still confused. Who did that magic that got rid of everything? Like, you know, when the janitor died and she killed the history teacher, and when the car came and and it just disappeared. I was like, was that bleed, or was that just set up because of the wards, or was that sailor? Like, what was it? I didn't go into her parents and family life enough. Maybe they're keeping it vague because they're somehow ingrained in this process, or like, wouldn't that be cool if her sister, like, that was just a cover-up? Ooh, what about that? What if what happened with her sister was just a cover-up to what actually happened? Maybe she was a paladin and she like died a paladin and she was like fighting for that person she had to protect. That would have been. Oh, you know what else bothered me? When she was listening to the guy that died, Christopher, the janitor who passed on the paladin powers to her, right? Okay, so his last words were like, protect, you have to protect him, and then he died. And Harper never revisits that. She never even thinks about his last words, and I distinctly remember him being like, you have to save him. And I'm like, it's obviously David. I mean, get with it, people. It's obviously David. But she doesn't even connect that. She doesn't even think about it. I don't even know if she even heard that. And then I was like, Harper, you could know exactly what your purpose is if you thought about it. But anyway, so that was my book talk about Rebel Belle. As I said, I give it 4 to 5 stars because it did want to keep me reading, and I definitely want to pick up the sequel. And I know the last book in the trilogy comes in 2016. 2016, it comes out in 2016. So that was my book talk for Rebel Belle. I hope you enjoyed